Welcome to the deep dive. It's part 2 of the Mailbags Monday review. We've got Jack Dickens, Shane Ciurleo. We're talking Flemington, Doomben, Toowoomba, the whole lot. It'll be a little bit of everything, but we'll start with you, Dicko. Welcome back into lockdown, and it was nice when, while we're able to enjoy being on course, but I'll probably see you next, maybe in time for the Cup?
I don't know. It's hard, mate, to be honest. Like, it's just hard. It's shit. Like, not knowing what you're doing, and like, we had the boys down here. Shane was supposed to come, and like, we'd be playing golf today, and would have been at Flemington on Saturday, and we would have won. We would have won small. I reckon I made like one mistake that I can like go back through, and we spoke about it a bit on the text as a group. I think Tagaloa should have been a bet, but the rest of it was about thereabouts. And when you look back, and so like I backed Cool, we took $2.50. It started $2. You look at the data and stuff. I don't regret that bet. Back Zudanzo, back Skyman, we backed ASR. We should have backed Tagaloa with it. Had a tiny bet on Pippi, which in hindsight maybe not the bit of a donation, but it was a tiny bet. And Zach had in the last, and to get done by that non-winning, I'm telling you, who flashes and is having his 50th go at it. It's a bit frustrating, but small win, winning week, whatever. We move on, and we dive into everything because we've got nothing else to do down here.
I was going to say, you sound really invigorated. Kells, help him out a little bit. What was the week like for yourself?
Saturday was really bad. I had a pretty solid losing day. We sort of bounced up and down a bit during the week and got a sort of ahead going into Saturday, and I just lost count. I haven't really added it up yet because I just don't want to look right now. Just yet. Just with the amount of seconds, it was extremely frustrating on Saturday. So, and just being on the end of a couple of interesting decisions early in races, particularly in the Metro meetings. Like, we backed a Ringy Spring. I think we took like 8 and 850 or something earlier in the day, just, with the low weight, second up fitter, map to go forward. It was 8s into 420 and restrained out of the gates back to second last. Just small things like that, which completely grade me up, and the horses ran enormous.
Do you dig through the Shields report? Like, there was a few of them on Saturday for me, and then you go through looking for the Shields report, only really just to do your due diligence before you do like this show, really. And then you start to see other shit in there. Like, you might go look for an excuse for something else you're back, but while you're there, you go and look at the Shields report for that race, and there'll be really nothing in there, or trainer was reminded that he needs to notify a change of tactics, or and you just go into a deeper state, like completely just fuming.
Kels, you did mention just then, like, both of you have backed a horse, had a solid bet. Both of them have beaten SP, and I think we've mentioned this quite a few times over the last period of time. And is beating SP, does that actually mean anything, Kels, in your point of view anymore?
I can understand the arguments for that being very important. Beating SP, I can understand the mathematical importance of that, and I agree with the arguments of it. It doesn't mean it matters to me personally. Like, I go back and price that race that we say, take a Ringy Spring, for example. Well, 850 was unders if it was going to go back to second last.
Yeah.
So what the market says the SP is, and what I think the SP is, if I'm doing some post-race analysis, like, it's completely irrelevant. Like, Beaufort Park was another horse that we backed Saturday, which was up in trip and had to be forward to be able to be in the finish, and it was back to last. Another one that shortened throughout the day as well. Now, you go and reprice that race with that horse mapping last, we're taking unders. regardless of what the starting price says. So obviously the starting price has a lot of relevance, and you're going to have instances where you do a review and the starting price, if you want to price the race after the event, well, you're going to get bad luck, checks or held up and whatever other stuff, which makes that analysis a little bit more difficult, and you just got to go with the market SP. But then you have those races where you've completely got the map wrong, and it's a lot easier to identify that SP probably isn't right for whatever reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
I quite like that. I reckon that makes a lot of sense. Judging SP when you're repricing the race, I quite like that going forward. Okay, we'll start with.
But can you price it? It's almost like a mythical price if you're pricing it on where it was, like where it did map, versus where you believed it would map. Like, you've obviously got an enormous amount of ability. You know, you've won consistently since you started with us. You would have won before then. Like, over the journey, you're going to get the maps right, because the map is a huge factor in the winning chance of a horse. So
Massive.
So
I reckon it's the biggest
repricing it off where it lobbed.
Well, you know, there was a horse for example, at Doomben Race 1 leadership spill, where they were taking any price Betfair below the fixed price call at one point late. It was just a matter of, you know, getting as much on as they could. I done a little bit of work post race, and you know, you've got the stablemate drifting and missing the start out the back, and leadership spill landing on the bunny quite comfortably, and it's $1.30. Maps key, and I'm not sure, can't speak for other states, but I'm seeing the market smack horses with map favours late at a lot lower rated price than I can get them to off the data.
Yeah.
I still think that you have a look at what I've sent to the subs the last 2 weeks. I've left bets on favourites because I couldn't get them that short, where the market said there's no price that's too short for this thing. It gets the lead and wins.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the SP profiles are still a very useful tool, and particularly if you're like watching this and trying to make a start in the game. I think it's a valuable tool for everything that you might not know of or miss, or like.
Absolutely.
If the market's moving, it's because enough people with more so enough power to move the market, and to have enough power to move the market, you're likely very successful than have a large bank. So
absolutely,
it's the intelligent money telling you what's the most likely outcome in this race.
Yeah, don't disagree at all, and particularly on those. I think I'd probably put a little bit more weight on SP profile on the younger horses. You know, particularly when you're looking at first starters and you know, 2 and 3 year olds early in their preparations, even from first to second prep, we see a little bit of stable confidence, and I think that's really relevant to certain stables as well.
See, that's just fascinating. I'd be the other way a little bit. I find it really confusing because I doubt that the big mobs who can really swing a market overly play that end, like those sort of races where there is no data, and if the three of us owned a horse and the plastics knew that one of our accounts was keen to back it, or our trainer was, I think they could really influence the market a lot more, say, than a horse that was having a 3-year-old having its third preparation.
Yeah, and like don't discount the impact that those traders at those corporates have on those types of horses. That they see the right account backing them, and they're shopping out wide.
Yeah.
We've seen a thing on Twitter where, you know, it was spoken about by, you know, the sports bet traders are the best at knocking the tab prices off. So, yeah. So many factors. It's such a massive jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense because they'd have the most accounts, so they'd be the favourite to get the most amount of what.
And early because they're going
information. Yeah.
Also helps potentially if they know exactly what time certain joints are going up. let's start off with Flemington. We'll have a look at the Vanity, the CS Hayes, and the Lightning. The Vanity Dickens Zoo Dancer, very fast tempo. It sat on speed, and it's completely and utterly killed them.
I suppose this is a really good example and something to discuss because I'm interested in what you both think here. You've seen my prices. Like, this horse was a strong bet, but it's confusing because of how strong some of these first up decent to quality stayers are, and then there's money for Ciurleo, and then there's strong money for, was it Personal in this race?
Not. It was a bit soft late by the looks of things. It sort of kept
Personal.
Yeah, Personal, yeah. But
it was back though. Like, there was money there for it. Like, it wasn't like this thing's just having a run first up, and then the money indicated the ride. Like, this is an Oaks winner, first up over 400 meters on a good speed, a really good speed. If we discuss this on a previous show on Thursday, it's favourite to be ridden cold.
Yeah.
It's that fucking 1-1 or something.
Yeah,
like, it was there to win.
I mean, it also had.
It was as good a ride as there was on the day.
Yeah. But it did have barrier 1, and quite often that stable barrier means intent.
Anyway, I've underbet the winner, but I have bet back the winner. Thank God. They have gone so fast here. I don't think anything in this race will ever beat Zoo Dancer over 400 meters, ever, unless something goes wrong with Zoo Dancer. I think there's a stack of nice runs in the race. I'd be nervous about backing anything out of this race within 2 weeks. Like, anything here, they have gone so hard, and you've either got horses that were really, like, first up in their prep, like your Personal Ciureos, even Salto Angel, or you've got horses like Vespertine and that. Thunder Peak was good, but it's 5th up or 6th up next up, maybe first preparation. So I think Zoo Dancer is a beast. It clocked a big figure before it was freshened up, like a much improved figure on its lightly raced career, and it's just smacked that again now.
I think it just never looked like getting beat in the run either, did it?
Well, because we're on, you know what it's like. Like, you just want the fucking thing to win, you know. Like, this is looking good, and then there's all these stayers that are close enough. I don't watch or trust the times on the TV, so you think they're pretty close, and then she just, like, eased it through its gears. It's the perfect ride and the perfect horse for J Car, like the nature strip. She just lets them get through their gears, doesn't slow them down. It's a great ride. Yeah, it fucking killed him. Like, if she was into it probably would have won by twice as far.
Yeah. Can't remember what race. They were talking about some pretty decent race that potentially going towards, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, off these figures, right, a 10.4 on the Punting Form all average benchmark. That's about 3 lengths off a Group 1 race.
Yeah.
The right Group 1 race. And it's a horse that has tactical speed. It has tactical speed, and it's won a dominant win at Flemington. A horse, if it can find 3 or 4 lengths and has tactical speed, it's a certainty to run top 3 in a good race at Moonee Valley, provided it's racing on pace, which it's favourite to do, like dominant favourite to do that track. Caulfield the same. Like, it's a box ticker, this horse.
It must have been the Guineas. Of course, it was the Guineas. Anyway,
it's the Caulfield Guineas. Is it the Australian Guineas or the Caulfield Guineas?
Australian Guineas.
Yeah, I'd rather see it at Caulfield.
Not that time of year. All right, let's have a look at the CS Hayes, because you mentioned Tigaloa, and we talked about it actually on this show a couple of weeks back with Natalie Young being less than impressed post-race with Mark Zara with the gesticulation and the arm movement and all that sort of stuff after posting the horse 3 wide, no cover in a small field. Came up against Azar, did it have SP over Azar, or was it very close?
No, it was something like 290 versus 250. I'll confirm it because I want to get it right.
Yeah.
So at Caulfield, Azar SP 250. They were both knocked off by Portland Sky, who led and won. Tigaloa was 330 into 290 and was not suited, was raced wide without cover in the Stewards report. Drawn barrier 1 was never going to be wide without cover. Jack, for fuck's sake, that should have been a little tick. It was right around, even the more frustrating part, and this is like the hardest thing that we do, is I still priced it like almost a bet because it was soft. It touched $15. So then when we're already on ASAR, do we then expand the race and back this horse when we're having a pretty strong day, or we just keep it simple? They're sort of like little thoughts that you have, and I made the wrong decision here. I should have been with both. The market, and this is probably to Curly's SP profile point, the market had no fucking clue in this race. All they wanted was this Kiwi horse, which was wide, not suited, but it was pretty weak too.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that a lot of these Kiwi group races are pretend races. You have to see them perform in Australia before having some level of confidence, whether it's in a previous preparation or the same preparation. But, you know, a lot of these Group 1 races that we're seeing run over in New Zealand at the moment, I mean, Melody Bell's won about 40 of them. I mean, it's just, what do you get from that? You need to make sure that the horse is turning up in the right condition. Unfortunately, we weren't on course, so we weren't able to confirm any of that. It would have been a great race to be in the yard for because we saw Azar and Ciurleo last start. I've got a good profile on Dom to Shoot. Mwanga would have been a really interesting horse to get a profile on. Looks like it's come back pretty well.
The most interesting horse here would have been Cherry Tortoni to see how forward it was, because it's the run of the race outside the two first and second horses. And post race, and even on Saturday night when we're talking, we're like Asar's a cat. It's not genuine. It is genuine. Asar has run like the biggest figure of its, like almost the biggest figure of its life here. It's just Ciurleo hasn't stopped. Like Asar's gone from running a 5.3 first up at Caulfield to running a 13.4 here.
Yeah,
it's huge.
It's easy for me to say this, but hindsight, I'm interested in your two opinion because you look at it more than me. Looking at the race, like I say, it's easy for me to say this now. Like, didn't the best four horses finish in the first four placings?
Yeah,
on what we've seen.
Yeah, like Mwanga I didn't trust as much, but it had the SP profile. So, and a bit more upside, I thought. Yeah, and like the bet, they've gone really fast, very fast for the class, the race. Right, and Ciurleo's clocked the fastest last 200 metres of the race. Asar the third fastest last 200 metres of the race. Mwanga the second fastest last 200 metres of the race, and Cherry Tortoni the fourth fastest. So, despite they sat on speed and looked like they were suited by the race shape, they're still the best two horses in the last 200 metres, or the first and third best horses. I think Asar is genuine, and we're likely going to see a flip next start of the SPs, and we're probably going to be with Asar again.
Yeah.
Off that. Off this valuable lesson I've learned about trusting.
What's the race where they go to from here? It's the Australian Guineas, is it? That's the next logical step for most of these horses?
Yeah.
If Mwanga stays in Melbourne.
Yeah. And it's just about the barrier draws.
Yeah.
Really. Because like Asar does need a good barrier. I thought the barrier was okay to trust D-Lane, and D-Lane gave this thing like an outstanding ride. Luke Curry gave Ciurleo a peach too.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Wester's best horse, Dom to Shoot? It ran third in the Kingston Town Classic behind Truly Great, and that race is really holding up very strong out of WA.
I thought it was just about as good, but not as good as Cherry Tortoni.
Yeah, I mean, it settled right back in the field.
And
First
I
start,
did think, like I made like a note, like, drawn better next start will improve.
Yeah.
It was ridden just like so cold.
Yeah.
Whereas Cherry Tortoni's biggest like weakness is just going to be ridden cold every time. And that's Ciurleo's big edge over all these horses. It's got that tactical speed.
Yep. Proper beast. Okay. Good race, deep race going forward, but the Lightning, I mean, it's just another tick for Mark Roden's nature strip theory, isn't it? I didn't even mention that to him on the Sydney show. I'm not sure he probably wanted to hear it. He could have built about 14 houses out of that if he kept to it. at every start. The market kept finding Bivouac. I must say, during the run, I didn't even notice Bivouac was in the race for the most part.
It was there to win. It was close enough to win, though. Like, Nature Strips run a bigger figure first up this prep than it ran all preparation last. It's just improved. Its biggest figure last preparation was first up, and it was only 0.1 of a length inferior to what it did on Saturday, and it was over 1,000 metres. So it regressed, only slightly, but it did regress throughout its preparation. So I think, like, aligning with Roden, we're going to have to be against it next start because it's going to be the dominant favourite next start because it won here. I think it was utterly blessed in run, and one of the, like, so simple, but one of the great rides. Just, she didn't give any care for what Pippi was doing. Just let the horse get through its gears. It was outstanding riding. September Run, though, is a beast. Is a proper horse. Is easily the best horse out of this meeting to follow. Like, it's clocked the fastest last 400 and 200 off a savage speed. Yes, 1,000 metre race, but fuck me. There was some of the most disgraceful tempos there on Saturday. Like, it's an amazing performance. September Run is, like, legitimately very, 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 very good. And I think they're like the next generation of proper sprinters in Australia.
Yeah, I thought loves the straight. I'll think more. I don't know what the word is. Pragmatic might be the word. It did what it was expected to do. I thought September Run. It was going to sit back off a tempo and be the flashing light runner late because it wants 1,200 down the straight next time. I thought it ran exactly to expectation and didn't disappoint. And it should be very hard to beat.
Yeah, I think it'd be incredibly hard to beat next start, but it'll probably be at a price that means that we're probably not even on. But it's easily like the horse to follow from the meeting. Just hoping that, like, it meets Nature Strip and a few of these over 1,200 metres, and they favour the winner in the market early on, and we can get a result there. Because it's if this field meets at 1,200, I'd be backing September Run to beat them, and I'll probably be having something on Bivouac who'll get a better price.
So early market for the new market. September Run's $2.60, Bivouac's $11, Nature Strip's $11.
Oh, I'm backing Bivouac heavily.
Sure.
There you go. So of everything I just said, it's about price, isn't it? So $11 Bivouac is they should be about all the same price.
He looked disappointing to the eye, Bivouac, didn't he? But if you have a look at the data there, he's probably ran to what you'd expect him to do first up 1,000, to be honest, based on what he's done in the past. Like, he wasn't that far off similar figures to what he's produced, at 1,100 first up.
But his ceiling is like, he's got a much higher ceiling than anything in this race, like that races in Australia. That's 16.1, isn't it? 16.1, 1,200 metres down the straight.
Yeah.
Like, it's 2 lengths better than anything in Australia.
Yeah. And if he's returned, 11.2 today, Saturday, he looked probably a little disappointing to the eye, but first up 1,000. If you have a look at his Caulfield runs, the last 2 preps, he's been at Caulfield first up 1,100. He's ran 12.8.
Yeah. And first up last preparation at Randwick over 1,100, 5.3.
Yeah.
So if you're a Bivouac fan, don't stress.
Don't drop off.
Maybe just, if you know he's going to the new market, $11 is complete not a gravy, because September Run shouldn't start favourite over Bivouac 1,200 metres down the straight. I just think September Run's the most exciting horse from a narrative and racing fan point of view. I haven't looked at that market.
Okay. Do you have one other horse from any of the other races that you want to follow going forward?
I think Skyman, September Run, Cherry Tortoni, and Bivouac are the 4 horses to follow. But maybe not September Run now, given they've already got a market out and it's so short. Yep. I really like this Skyman. Pissed off we didn't have more on. And if you notice, another rort for the way we record our results. Like, when we sent the bet, it was $4. It started $3 in 5 minutes. It absolutely hemorrhaged. This is its second preparation in 2nd preparation. So It's with Waller. It ran a peak figure in Australia, or just below its peak figure first up this preparation. It's now run a peak figure and improved second up from 14 to 1600. The sky is the limit for this horse. I don't know how high it'll get, but you'd imagine it's going to get every bit of 2000. Loves Flemington. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a real like strong senior rider pinch this ride, and who knows? I did think an interesting horse on the day is his Cool. Like, Runway was having like career start 60, and like we were talking about with the stewards reports, I don't know why I read them because they just grade me up. But John McNeil thought the horse might be suited over further. They wrote that. I don't know why. Why would they write that? Why did they write that?
What, given it won over the same distance last start?
And it's won twice over 600 metres. Like, literally last start, it won over... Or why don't they say Jai? I just love to see him say Jai. Won last time it raced, it was actually over the same trip and it won. That's all I just want, like...
They're not lawyers. They're stewards.
No, I'm not actually bagging it. It like entertains me, but it grates me up. The only difference was last start it went like six lengths faster than the 600, so maybe that was the difference. I don't know, because it'd be even fitter now, so it'd probably be able to handle an even faster tempo.
Yeah, stop talking logical sense. We don't need that. Let's go up to Queensland. Speaking of logical sense, girls, the Tony Gollan half hour. Let's just unroll, or let's wind back what happened there. Race 2, Miami Flies.
Yeah, I'm going to bring your two opinions in here with looking at the data. Now, this horse, obviously debut winner at the Sunshine Coast. It was just 1,000 and dashed, and yeah, it looked nice. Yard reports were pretty impressed of this horse at Doomben when it stepped out Saturday. It's done it all itself again. Clocked a 7.5 all average benchmark. Now, 3-year-old filly having its second start in a race, doing it all on its own, like leading and winning, all on raw ability. I've sort of had a look at its performances compared to a horse like Away Game, who I suppose is like, I'm not sure whether benchmark filly is the right sort of description of Away Game, but it's the sort of the first one that sprung to mind anyway. I sort of had a bit of a comparison, and I wonder where the ceiling is for this horse, Miami Flies. Like I said, it's done everything on raw ability and leading and winning, so hasn't had a bunny or anything like that. It's just something it's had to do both times. And 7.5 is a good figure. It was clearly the big figure on the day.
It's a huge figure too for Queensland.
3-year-old filly having its second start. It's a massive figure for Queensland.
Well, we've done a stack of deep dives where there might be one or two horses that have broken the benchmark.
Well, we didn't break the benchmark last Saturday, I don't think.
Yeah, there you go. Now we've run a 7.5. Like, it's enormous.
Is it nominated for any 3-year-old features coming up? Do we know?
Well, the 3-year-old features don't exist in Queensland.
I'm talking about Sydney or Melbourne, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah. Until the Winter Carnival, obviously. So, like just comparing it to, it's like 2 to 3 lengths off the figures that Jonker was tossing up when it was melting the clock up here. Like that's like, it's enormous figure. I don't know where I'm going with this, but Tony Gollan's horses in the last 7 days are absolutely airborne. He won the first 2. Miami Flies are clearly the best on the day. Where does it go from here? Like, I don't know, Sydney?
Probably.
Don't know.
Well, he wouldn't go to Melbourne because they won't be able to get out.
No. All the smart Queenslanders stay away from Melbourne.
Yeah. That was the best bet you had last week, hey? Like, really
not a lot to report from out of that race other than the winner was ultra impressive. So it'd be interesting to see where she goes. But that's a group figure for a 3-year-old filly. That's a that's a group figure that she can be competitive in a group race for sure off that.
Does Gollan find a lot of these Spirit of Booms? He obviously trained the horse, so does he tend to gravitate that way in terms of breeding? Do we know?
Well, I think he just gets a lot of them because he trained the sire, probably. Yeah. But in saying that, Black Soil Bloodstock, who own this horse, they've obviously got a good eye for a young horse because they've trotted out a number of good horses over the last couple of years. Like this horse, Isotope's another one that, off the top of my head, among a few others. So, yeah, I don't know how far this horse goes, but it can only improve off that. Is what I think. Probably one of the next best on the day was probably race 9 in Garibaldi. Just visually, from the 400 to the 200 has gone from 3 lengths behind the leader to 3 lengths in front of it. It was a scintillating turn of foot for a horse that was a little bit maligned. Obviously, it's come back gelded, and we launched into it first up, and it got beat by Ruka. I don't think it's been beaten since, and we've steered off it. So, devastating again. Second biggest figure of the day with a 6.2. Did its best work late, obviously, and very soft to the line. It's hard to know sort of what to follow out of the meeting, to be honest. Some sectional times which makes me absolutely sick are the splits of a Ricky Spring.
Yeah.
It even like, just to completely annoy me, ran the fastest last 200 of the meeting, which makes me sick. You just couldn't win from back there. Another horse that we were on, which I did sort of anticipate it would get back in the field and the tempo would be, even enough for him to get home, was in the 2-year-old, was a horse called Better Off. I wouldn't say it was back. It was like a detached from the field. Not sure that the camera angle panned wide enough to see how far it was off the leader. There's a 2-year-old having a young horse. Not sure. I don't think it's young horse having its what was it?
Second start
in their race.
2-year-old colt.
It's peeled off like the 5th fastest last 200 of the meeting. Don't like to get too carried away with those late splits on back markers, but I suppose it gives me some peace that these horses of back do have ability. But we just couldn't get the map to suit on the day. So I think Erengi Spring's a horse coming out of the meeting that we could be on next start in the right setup for sure. If we could just get a memo if they're going forward.
Okay, and what about Toowoomba? Because I certainly caught wind of what was happening in race 5 with this thing Pucko being absolutely launched, and the data on Dr. TK, I think a few of the smarties sort of found it, and the price just got better as they got closer to jump time.
Oh, it's always good when he starts like that. When he's just rubbing the freshly off his head.
So I left the track after race 2, and I'm hoping that I get a letter from the Turf Club saying I'm not welcome back, because we were on King of the Desert. We were on King of the Desert, and I sent this bet. I sent the bet saying this is like as confident as I can be with a map at Toowoomba. This thing leads and wins. It's that simple. Now, taken 270, it's SP'd $3, which annoyed me because all I've done there is bet again late at like 3:30 Betfair or something, right? So King of the Desert leads and wins. The only really risk is probably Red Zeb from gate 2 will cross the horse in gate 1 and end up behind the leader, and Sir Piccolo will end up 1-1. They were both like $10, $12. We'll have a small chop on those 2 horses because they're the only 2 that can win without, unless they take this leader on. So we lead comfortably. Red Zeb goes to cross the horse inside. It doesn't. The horse's name is Carnivu or Carniva. Carnivu. Spot behind the leader, and then we get a couple of horses with like $70 SPs just completely barbecuing us in front. we've kicked clear had the audacity to kick clear on the corner, and then Carnivore, who should not have been behind the leader, has got us right in the line. I completely snapped. I completely lost it. The horse that was 3 deep taking us on was slow away. He just sent it 3 deep and took us on the whole way. It was at the 100-metre mark when I was packing my computer up. That's how far back it was. Anyway, I've stormed out. I've texted Mrs. Curley, and she thought like I might have gone into a fight or something because I didn't really explain myself very well in the text.
That's an insight into the man. That's what his missus might think. How old are you? 41?
43.
He's been in a fight.
I sculled 2 beers, and I was going to have 200. And I said, no, you better come and get me here because I'm about to go off my head. So I've settled back in for race 5. So like a lot more calmer now. You know, I'm at my computer and I'm watching this horse Pucko completely melt. $7 in the city, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Dr. TK was like a barrier trial at Gatton is what it looked like. It was half missed the start. It was a bad ride. He was the widest runner on the corner and kept finding the line. Bobby Alyssa was going on. Perfect. Like it's just a bet, right? So once again, I think we centered it. No, I sent it as it drifted. So I'd said, top toed SP. Because all this money was coming from Pucko. And I was giggling. I was like, this Pucko's got the wide gate. It's got a 3 kilo apprentice who's been claiming 3 kilos for 3 years. She's going to have to go forward because it can't go back to last and circle them. She's going to have to go forward. She's going to be no closer than 3 and 4 deep like she has been on it last start. And it punctured at the 200. Like this Dr. TK is a moral. Like he'll completely school her, Bobby. He'll keep her wide. It's just so I've kept betting. Got out to 390. Now, as I expected, Dr. TK's second race start showed a bit more better manners, showed a bit more gate speed, lobbed outside the leader. And then we've got another 3 kilo apprentice who was tardy away and couldn't hold her horse, so she decides to go 3 deep and just completely carve them. Meanwhile, the well-backed commodity's gone back to second last. And I was thinking, well, I'm glad she's second last because she still won't be able to get us. Like, she's not going to circle them from second last. The horse is not that good. She's just pulled the widest runner from the 600 and kept pulling wider to keep circling them and ran past us and got, beat us a length. I had a look at some of the lead times and, like, we were probably entitled to knock up. But, like, honestly, it's just one of those things where you're just on the right horses and you're just getting barbecued by people that, should be honing their skills at non-tab meetings, not on Sky Channel that people can actually bet on. Like, honestly.
Where did the leader finish? I can't remember which one it was.
What?
It was Sugamore, wasn't it? It was beaten 13.4 lengths.
Yeah, with a $370 SP. The other horse was Evasive Light. It was $21. It was the 1-3 wide.
Yeah.
Pouring the pressure on it. Probably didn't go too bad, but how can you bet? And then the bets I think the Gold Coast bets ran second. It's just one of those days, I suppose. I don't know what to say. Like, I know what I want to say, but I just don't think I can.
No, you can't.
It's tough. It's you sort of the third tier of jockeys in Queensland on a Saturday, because obviously you got your Metro meeting, you've got your Gold Coast Saturday, and if you've got any ability at all, the last thing you want to be doing is driving an hour and 40 minutes to Toowoomba, to put your life at risk riding in those fields.
Yeah, and the first tier riders are like the 4th tier riders from here. Like,
yeah, I did say there before that Pucko ran away from us in the line. It was only like 0.2 because Pucko was laying all over the top of us up the straight. Like, it would have won. It would have won easily, probably. But anyway, Yeah, it's tough. The best jockey in Queensland's back this week, I think, Brad Stewart. So, we've done a lot of soul searching at the results, and Brad Stewart's name is attached to a lot of positive units over the last 6 months. So glad to have him back.
And the week ahead for yourself, Curls, reasonably busy as always. I think you start with, was it Warwick on Tuesday?
Warwick Tuesday, Ipswich Wednesday, Doomben Thursday, Sunshine Coast Friday night. Saturday is Aquas Park, Gold Coast, Eagle Farm, Toowoomba. Sunday is Gatton, which is God's carpet in the Lockyer Valley. So I'll bet, I don't know, probably 120 races there, I suppose. And then I'll have Monday, Tuesday off, and then bet Ipswich the following Wednesday.
Sounds great. Dickens, you have Swan Hill Tuesday, Sandown Wednesday.
Hobson Country, Hobo Country. We don't need to do the form.
Valley Friday night. We've got the Blue Diamond Day on Saturday. A decent week.
Yeah, we'll bet. We'll start. We won't bet Swan Hill. I doubt. I'll look at it, but I doubt. We'll bet. We'll bet Sandown. We'll skim Warrnambool. We'll bet a couple of maidens at Pakenham. Maybe a maiden at Benalla. We'll bet at the Valley. We'll bet at Caulfield. Maybe a maiden at Yarra Valley.
Well, that's the Blue Diamond. That's at Enthar, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no, I won't say that. And we will bet on Sunday at Werribee. It's actually one of our most profitable tracks. I just done a bit of research last week on that. So I'll be doing the entire meeting at Werribee. I won't be like betting or sending shit every race, but I'll have looked at everything in real detail for Sunday.
Beauty. And I've got Bunbury Wednesday, Geraldton Thursday, Ascot Saturday. Don't know Sunday, but we'll have a look at them all.
Could be an early bet though in the Blue Diamond, honest. So I know we only send them at 9 a.m. and all that, but I'm starting to get a bit over that. So we might be. There might be something about to happen in the Blue Diamond market field. So they're all in, aren't they? They would be.
Yeah, until Wednesday.
Yeah. Righto.
Okay. Beauty. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
go well.
puntingform.com.au, whose sectionals we quoted for every little bit of that.
Yeah. They keep us alive and kicking at all
Couldn't breathe
times.
without it, honest to God.
No. As does Goat, but for different reasons.